ठीक है.
I think he's here, sir.
Okay. Mohil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mohil, so I'm Dashara, and Mithun and I were discussing about the movie that you're making.
Yes, sir.
I think it is important for you to look at this particular documentary that will give you a lot of information about how should you proceed about your movie.
Sure, sir. Yes, sir. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
so I'll just start it from the beginning, and then please watch it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, let's talk about the first scene, then let's talk about the bar scene, because those were both very problematic.
So mariachis, in the beginning, we were talking.
Have you written our lyrics yet?
Something to the effect of, we're gathered, my friends, a tale of the hero who has yet to enter his story, And like all legends must die. I mean, I think we have to set up also the blackness of them. Our purpose is to sing of a hero, but the problem is our hero has not entered his story. And you start the movie.
And all heroes, as you know.
So the next time you see them, they're like, he's going to die. He's like, we got a purpose now.
The sort of primordial phase of Rango, I would say, was 2003 at a breakfast with John Carls and David Shannon at Arts Deli. David and John pitched a Western with Creatures of the Desert.
The three of us got together and started, meeting over lunch or a glass of wine and talking about characters and talking about where the story might go. And I did a few sketches, and pretty soon the characters, started to take shape.
I wrote up a couple of pages that had, the Great Pretender. You had him coming into this town. You had this sort of Chinatown subplot. He's the patsy. He's made sheriff. He starts asking questions. They bring in the hired gun. He's revealed as being a fraud and a phony, and exile and catharsis and return. And all those things were in this 4-page outline.
I think we started off with a simple, solid outline, and then Gores decided, God, I love this so much, I want to direct it. But we got to hold off for a minute. I'm going to go direct this one Pirates movie, which, of course, grew into 3 films, and now here we are, 5 to 6 years later.
So here's what I'm thinking. I do think it's nice to open on a glass of water, since water is iconic of the whole movie.
I came back and pitched the outline to John Logan, and he kind of immediately keyed onto this identity story. He's like, well, this is an identity quest. This is a journey of a guy who doesn't know who he is. And so that really gave us a kind of target.
The hand grabs the thing, and does this final thing.
in the show,
Join with me in the great chant of the hero. It's funny, because I've known Gore for years, and we've always been looking for something to do together. So we had lunch, as we do periodically. And he said, how about an animated movie? And I said, oh, no, that's so not for me. It's not my sensibility. I'm not funny. I'm not particularly, I'm known for sort of as a tragedian, as a very serious sort of writer. I said, but what's the story? And he said, well, I envision a Don Knotts movie with a lizard set in the desert with a bunch of Western characters. And I thought for about 20 seconds, and I said, I have to do it, because it sounded so much fun. And the idea of playing in the genre of the Western and playing with all those Western archetypes, like the bad gunslinger, the shifty mayor, the rancher, all of that, I found very interesting.
It came from character first. I mean, it's a Western. So in a Western, I can't escape that, those archetypes and that language. And the sort of cinematic language evolved out of those compositions and out of those early storyboards where we were saying, okay, these are going to be, all the kind of classic compositions that you don't see typically in animation. That's just sort of ingrained in kind of how I think and how I, when you kind of imagine a construction of shots.
This was very early on. This was one of my first passes when I first started kind of getting into the story. And I was thinking about what Gore said and thinking about the spaghetti westerns. And I did this piece in an attempt to go, no, this to me is what those films were all about. that pushing that depth of field, that black against white, that high contrast. And this piece in particular kind of, I think, kind of want to make. This is the direction let's start heading into.
We actually need something that adds up over a series of scenes. There's somebody dumping water in the desert. They've cut off my credit. You know, I go to the bank. That's all that's left. These things are adding up to, you know, and now the bell rings and we're all going to go to this ritual. I feel like
but they're not adding up to that. They're adding up to something totally different.
They have to add up to that.
I don't see how they can.
John Logan keeps you honest. I mean, you are conjuring, you're riffing, you're writing bits of humor, and John is like looking at the big picture and saying, this is a myth.
We want Beans to be escalating the water story to suggest there's a crisis. But we can't have a crisis until the water doesn't come.
He's super literate, so you get a sense of kind of, you know, what is dramaturgically correct.
The concept of less water is coming is just, that's too fine. It's muddy dramaturgical thinking.
If water comes on Wednesday, then she has no problem.
But she's expecting the water to come.
So she has no problem.
Right.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
The most exciting part for me has been watching, you know, the production model that we've built, a small team of artists, you know, working with a visionary director like Gore, and really see it take shape quickly.
Bring the flux capacitors. Are they phasing right now? Are the flux capacitors phasing?
There's, you know, an efficiency here that's, you know, working, and, you know, part of it is this wonderful, you know, workspace that we've been privileged to have for the first stage of the film.
This environment has been definitely one of the main factors that have helped keep us producing at a rate. The vibe is wonderful, the guys are always happy, and we look forward to coming in here. It's been probably the best year of work that I've ever had in my life.
Gore had a vision of just a house in the Hollywood Hills with a beautiful lawn, and you can just incubate an idea and give it as much time as it needs to have. And the great thing about it is it's a place that people want to come.
This is my quest, that's what I'm telling you, come.
All right. Here, pull, just go. It's not work, it's play. Let's be honest here.
One, two, that's my goal.
We spent 16 months in the house working on the story reel, which is basically you could watch the whole movie in pencil sketches with temporary voices.
The easiest way to always describe it is we take the script and essentially make an enormous comic strip.
So that you can watch it as a movie and judge it and critique it and decide if it's working or not, and decide where you have to add a line or where you have to shorten a scene or where you have to add a scene.
And whatever you do, don't look me in the eye. Stay out of my peripheral vision.
What they had in that animatic was so good, I honestly went to Gore and thought, you know, I don't think you need me, really.
Which is a wedge-shaped area of optical visuality in a 90-degree arc.
I'd like what Jim did. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd leave Jim's voice in there and lose the actor guy.
Man your stations, battle stations. All right, so Tom, so show me what you got there, what you got going on. Well, show me those things that we just...
Those poses. Yeah. The movie is about character first. I mean, it's a Western, so it came from kind of this feeling of, you know, who were those guys that you saw in all those Westerns that were sort of those character actors, and then sort of reverse engineering that and looking at what creatures we have of the desert that we can draw from. The mayor, for instance, had to have been there, you know, for a long time and be wise, and this tortoise came to mind. Having a sense of, you know, Rango is this aquatic chameleon that he can't survive in the desert. Rattlesnake Jake, obviously, you know, villain, and then really throwing out to Jim and Eugene and to Crash and to David Shannon, you know, okay, go.
Where are we? That's all your stuff back in there. I don't... All right, people, let's go.
David Shannon, children's book author, you know, great illustrator, keen sense of character.
Rango, Rango. Cut that.
Jim Burkett, who's been my collaborator for years, great storyboard artist, great sense of composition, great idea guy. Crash McCreary, you know, great sense of kind of creature, great sense of style. Eugene Yelchin, his paintings are completely abstract, whose drawings are kind of boldly theatrical. So you've got these completely divergent styles, all coming together, putting their sort of egos aside, have this wonderful respect of each other and each other's craft.
Let's check on Crash. Crash, you here? Crash! Where's Crash? Let's get some. Hey, Crash!
We were all drawing sometimes the same character. Everybody'd have a little different take, and you know, you'd think, oh well, you know, I really like what Crash did there. I'm going to start stealing some of that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun because you know, to actually be told that you can steal stuff, that's good because everybody does anyway.
It's like a marriage, you know, it either brings the best in you or the worst in you. So in this particular scenario, I think it brought the best in everybody.
All right, where's Crash? He's back, okay.
Eugene did the initial sketch of this. You can tell that this guy is sort of a sophisticated gambler, but if you remove his hat, you know, that's a totally different guy. And Eugene just has this perfect sense of what little details to add that give somebody their unique character.
Crash? Crash! Where is he? Did he go? Is Crash gone?
Waffles started as a very loose, very simple pencil sketch by Dave Shannon that we all just instantly fell in love with. And you can just see from that drawing, like, you know what that character is. He's the guy that's like, hey, Rango, I can't wait to go on a posse with you.
Let's check on Crash.
You've got a lot of different styles, and you could easily end up in a place where nothing's uniform and nothing is, you sort of lose intention. But as long as we processed everything through Crash, you know, there's a kind of hugely unifying effect that Crash would have upon that work. And so he would redraw everything.
Show me some stuff.
Let's see.
It's fantastic.
These characters are, you know, they're going to appeal to that side of kids that sometimes adults don't realize kids have. You know, that sometimes adults want to talk to kids like this, and the kid just goes, oh, please, you know, give me something cool.
We're so grateful. We do have a new sheriff, and we are so hopeful that he is going to help us and find out what happened.
Who's this?
Rango, he's that tall, skinny fella who glints in the sunlight.
The lizard.
Claims he's from the far west.
He could be.
So he's Oriental.
What's his name?
Rango.
Oh, I know him.
So, very early on, Jim's first pass at Rango back here.
Half of his face was sideways, he had one eye that was too big, you know, a little kink in his neck, and that was it. It was like, that's our guy.
And I had done this drawing based on that, but in trying to put too much detail into the face, we lost a lot of that character. We've been exploring Rango for over a year now, and it's difficult in the sense that you know there's more that can come out of him. So he's proven to be quite the difficult guy to nail down.
We went through a whole process where we went through Rango and kind of the various expressions, making sure we can capture, you know, the full range of what Johnny's bringing to the character via his performance. It just shows you that we're going to be able to translate every aspect of that performance, and that Johnny will be driving the character. You know, it's not a disembodied voice. You know, he is Rango.
I'm from everywhere there's trouble brewing and hell waiting to be raised. Papa's going to work to be a lizard. Name's Rango. Daddy has to be a lizard today. What more do you say?
Let me tell you something, we all love beans.
Oh, but
I like my rice too. But he be liking some other kind of beans, if you know what I'm talking about.
I'm unhappy with the cup size. I said to Gore, I think Beans needs much bigger breasts. It's very important. It's in my contract that all my characters have very large breasts.
Beans, there's Beans in her catatonic state, you know?
And she'll just freeze.
It's a defense mechanism. Lots of lizards have it.
These are some of the first drawings. You know, we had certain character elements that we wanted to get, that she was like this kind of demure little thing, but then she would just go crazy when she was, you know, if you crossed her. But that's kind of how things start. They just start with little, you know, kind of scrubby little drawings. And then, of course, when Crash gets a hold of them, he puts all that great lighting on them and everything.
I'm very happy with the way Beans looks. I love the kind of pagan curls. I love the dress. I love how fierce she is. But I love that she's got, you know, fine, chiseled features. If I was to be a lizard, I'd want to look just like Beans.
Now, who's running the town of Dirt? I'm still trying to figure that out.
He's a wonderful person and a very good mayor.
Who we think is a great guy.
Fantastic.
He would never wrong us.
No, that would never happen.
The scene that I'm working on right now is Meet the Mayor, and Rango is going to be made sheriff, and basically the mayor manipulates him. I've drawn several scenes with him, and he's one of my favorite characters to draw because he's evil, and you know, evil is the new good.
People have to believe in something. Right now, they believe in you.
We went through a whole process. There's Eugene, there's Dave Shannon, right? And there's Crash.
I think I like his look better than mine. I like his look a lot. One of the things he can do, because he's a turtle, he has a wonderful way of stretching out a long neck and looking about him like this. I kind of wish I could do that same thing.
But you got to watch out for that snake. He's the devil. He's the devil. He's Satan himself.
He's full of venom.
He's the devil.
It's sexy, but crazy all at the same time. You know it's bad for you, but it's good for you, too.
This is just after the climax. The snake, who's like the, almost like the Jack Palance character, the hired gun, has come in, and he was going to kill Rango, but then he realizes that his boss, the mayor, was going to kill him and double-crossed him.
This is kind of an early Rattlesnake Jake, you know, where it still feels safe. You know, there's something very safe about it and cartoonish, and where we brought Jake to is a much more scary, realistic, kind of scary place.
So Jake's rattle is sort of made from the kind of cartridges of various pistols, and they rotate, and it's kind of a Gatling gun. Here's an early Eugene drawing, and then we decided, like, well, he has no hands, so that he can articulate his rattle, pick things up, spin glasses, you know, grab a gun, and that's going to be quite fun to take that from this kind of rudimentary drawing into kind of final.
Whenever there's some kind of scaly, reptile-y kind of character around, he thinks of me, which, you know, I'm not complaining. I love the way he looks. The drawings are by Crash, who did the drawings for Pirates of the Caribbean, and he's a genius. And they are beautiful. And if you're going to be a snake, then if you're drawn by Crash, you're in good shape.
Right now, I'm immersed in character land because we really had to populate, you know, this world with a lot of different characters, and we couldn't do it all with just prairie dogs and roadrunners.
Here are some great guys. So Ezekiel and Jedediah are two of our rodents. Not the sharpest knives in the drawer, you can tell. So they're the kinfolk of Papa. Balthazar is our kind of blind rodent bank robber character, and you can see progress here made from a Dave Shannon drawing into a Crash drawing.
I just felt like we needed a sort of a prospector, old codger guy. What are you doing in these parts there, sonny? And Crash, you know, give it some life, give it some more texture.
These guys were all based on drawings that Eugene had done. He was just kind of churning out these great, you know, we need 4 little kids that are the town kids, including Priscilla, who is featured more so than the rest of them. They're cute to an extent, but at the same time, you don't really want to pick them up and cuddle them.
And this was, I think he's called Wounded Bird now. And this was a little farther along. The first drawing was really rough. It was just a little line drawing.
Wounded Bird sort of went through a whole process. Areas here. You can see how he kind of came out. He's very stoic, silent.
Well, there's a lot of bad guys, from the red-tailed hawk that swoops in and causes mayhem in the town.
This is Bad Bill, who is the bad guy but doesn't know any better to not be bad.
And then there's Stump and Kinski and Chorizo, the rat, and they are part of Bad Bill's gang. They're the sort of local thugs.
Oh, yeah. Some people think that's a self-portrait, but I don't know. I think anything that anybody draws has a little bit of self-portrait in them, but I'm not claiming that one.
It's almost a situation where the background characters are so colorful they could have their own movie. You know, they could have a spin-off show and have plenty to do because each one of them has a history and each one of them has a whole backstory.
So this is the kind of wall of shame where we just, every day we can kind of get a quick snapshot of the variety of characters we have in our movie. And then, you can see like over here, I don't know if you see, we've got, just some key frames again from some of the aerial combat, from the bat sequence, when things really open up.
At first, it was going to be a shootout at the rodent hideout, and we said, well, how about it's more than a shootout? How about it's like, instead of 12 rodents, it's 300 rodents? This is Gore Verbinski. This is how working with Gore, it's always like this. How about it's 300 rodents, and they're on bats? It's 300 bats swooping down, and Wagner's playing. They've got Gatling guns, yeah, and there's explosives, and there's, blowing up roadrunners left and right, and rocks falling.
I like, a good old-fashioned. But we don't live in those times. And so we needed a little more Mad Max. We needed something, crazy. We needed motion. We needed energy. We needed chase. It just seemed like aerial combat just seemed like that hasn't been done in a Western. All right, Alex, what do you got? Show me some goodies.
We are pre-visualization artists. We're doing kind of quick and dirty, rough animation so that the director can look at the sequence in a rough form to kind of see if it's working.
Now, could you go back to that shot? Is that the one that's supposed to pull back?
Oh.
Go to the storyboard here, because I think it goes from him to him. Or maybe he's just not far enough back.
The finished product will take way more than the amount of time that we're taking to do this. I mean, a lot more, so we can get in really quick and actually give a feel to give a sense of like what's going on. And yeah, it's like it gives the directors much better tools.
So this is your sort of orbit around shot, right? And very quickly you're gonna go strap, 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 woof, 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 and then he'll turn around right into a close-up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was one of the few sequences we actually pre-visualized at the house, because sequences like that, the storyboards aren't really giving you the sense of motion. So you can't really determine the duration of the shot without pre-visualizing it. And then that was really helpful to bring it up to ILM.
Remark.
And action.
Good sirs, gracious good afternoon to thee and thee. May I present Madame Lupin's terpsichorean troupe of traveling thespians?
Normally the way you shoot an animated movie is, it's only for sound, so you're in a very sterile booth with no one to play opposite except the director. So it's a very isolating experience.
Suspend your disbelief and experience entertainment's tragical, comical, historical, and bilingual.
And what we're doing on this project that's different is we've got all the actors together, ensemble, interacting with one another, kind of trying to get that magic that happens when the actors are together. So we're getting a lot of improv and interesting accidents and things that you don't get in a recording studio with a single actor.
Bang, you hear a gunshot, bang, and just give me 3 seconds of, Animation's not a genre, it's a technique for telling a story. So why abandon the things that, you've kind of relied on in your career? When you're making a film, you've got everybody on set, and everybody gets on their game because there's another actor, and they're reacting to each other.
Blending. What are you saying? Too late. No, it's not too late. It's not too late. I'm blending. Watch me blend. I'm a blender. Oh.
Hey, psst.
What are you doing?
I'm blending. Don't blend somewhere else.
He's saying calm down. You guys are crossing.
Yep.
Next time we see you, you're in the crowd.
Yeah.
And that way you're set up.
Just the interaction that you get from other performers, it's just so much more creative and so much more rewarding, really, as a performer.
There's conjunctivitis. It's her runs in the family.
We wear the hats and the braids and you know, some people wear the costumes and everything just because I think that it does help you get sort of into your character more.
I will blow that ugly right off your face.
Get tutued. I think they help facilitate the character that you're doing. I mean, I know it does me. I don't generally walk around like this, but it adds something to it for me. I wear a different poncho, a different color.
This is his own.
Hold on now, Jake. There's no need.
And then he turns on you. He puts you in your place.
It's not like it would be actually if we were filming a scene, per se, but I think it's probably very helpful. As a matter of fact, I had the pleasure of meeting one of our animators on the set one day, and he was very sure about the need for that.
Hold on there, Jake. Let me do my job. You brought me in there. We're gonna play this thing out to the end.
Normally what we'd do is we'd film ourselves doing various scenes and use that as reference. But if we can reference Johnny Depp's behavior and the quirks that he has, I mean, it's just going to help the animation so much more. It's just going to inform the character a lot.
Instead of motion capture, it's kind of emotion capture.
Oh, evening, Gordy. Now you get back on in there and you assert yourself, and I think you'll find the people of this here town to be surprisingly hospitable.
Thank you, Sheriff. What? Not you again.
I stand corrected. What I said to Gore is the best description of it is kind of like being on the Carol Burnett show or Hee Haw or something.
Which one of you fellas needs a checkup?
Gore and Johnny have no reservations about playing, and it sort of frees everyone up or gives us permission to really physicalize and vocalize the lives of these characters.
Give me a little laugh.
Oh, what? What?
There are times when you sort of come out of character and think, wow, I'm acting opposite Johnny Depp. But Johnny's such a professional, and he puts you so at ease, and he's so gregarious and ingratiating that he's just made the whole process feel just really easy.
Only takes one bullet. You ain't got the nerve. It's lovely to work with Johnny. Johnny's a gentleman. He's a charming guy. He's a funny guy. He's incredibly smart and clever as an actor.
Good thing I brought some backup.
He's also, as a leading man, he's very welcoming and generous. And now he owes me dinner.
This part was designed for Johnny. There's no movie without Johnny. I mean, from its outset, from working with Johnny on Pirates and talking about how's the lizard going, oh, it's good, I'm describing scenes to him, and having done 3 movies with Johnny, it was really interesting to try to think about what he would do with the character.
Choleric varmints, ain't they? Dysfunctional family. Need intervention.
Everyone's here. Johnny Depp and Isla Fisher and Ned Beatty and Harry Dean Stanton, who I got to meet yesterday, which was a thrill.
What the hell's going on over there?
They're having
what kind of movie is this?
kind of in a funny way, we wish it was going to take us longer. Our part of it might be done before I wish it was, because I really enjoyed the people I met on this film.
Tis I.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Such an amazing cast. For people who will never be seen.
So, guys, I hope all of you are there.
Yes, sir.
and I hope this was insightful. No reaction, nothing.
Yes, sir, it was.
हाँ तो बोलो ना इतना डर क्यों गए हो यार? Anyway, so let's do one thing. I think Mithun has already given you some work to do, correct?
Yes,
Especially
sir.
identifying your groups and dividing or thinking about the characters that you would like to create, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what we can do is we can meet at 2 again. You can take your time to do that, and then right after lunch break we can meet again at 2, and then from there we can start continue discussing the things ahead. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sure. So we'll meet again at 2 o'clock, and we'll drop a text on the group. तब तक you can take time to think about the stories or take talk as in think about the characters that you would like to create, and start thinking in the point of view of the narration of the story. ठीक?
Yes, sir.
All right. थोड़ा ऐसे इतना जोश तो लाओ, थोड़ा सब ढीले क्यों है? हेलो.
Yes, sir.
सब नींद में है क्या? सो रहे हैं क्या सब?
No, sir.
और फिर 1-2 लोग बोलते हैं, बाकी कोई आवाज तक नहीं निकल रहे. चलो.
I have a question. So, how are we supposed to make the groups right now?
You decide.
Okay.
You choose. What? Five people can work in one group. 4-5 people can work in one group.
All right.
We don't need to tell you कि किसके साथ group करना है. You choose the person whom you would like to work with.
Okay.
ठीक है. Chalo. Anything else anyone would want to ask? नहीं है ना? चलो ठीक है. Anyway, so now we'll meet again at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Chalo. Bye bye.
Yes, sir.